Greetings and welcome back. Welcome back to my channel for another video. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to one and to all. Happy weekend and happy July, even though we are on the heels of August. So with that in mind, please give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day, because as we know, each day is a blessing. So tonight I'm going to be discussing in part some, not a deep dive just yet, some of the latest as it relates to the tragic passing of Nolan Wells. Now, many of you, I'm sure, by now have heard many things. We have seen many things, and in the age of technology, where it comes to altering, doctoring, AI, we all must be very careful because many people are sharing what they hear, and oftentimes I believe that people share what it is that they believe. Others, there may be individuals out there for their own reasons, for their own gain, for whatever it is in their minds, that they may do things that are not morally, in my opinion, correct. So I want to begin with stating this. There have been a few people that I've heard ask the question when it comes to Benjamin Crump and how they feel as though he's not the right person and he may be in certain situations placed there to stir up issues. There are people who question what is a civil rights attorney doing or being involved in a case such as this. So I want to present something really quickly, and it just shows some of the duties of a civil rights attorney and what they do, some of the things that they're responsible for. Now, if those of you that are truly interested and you do not have tunnel vision, if you visit the Ben Crump Law Firm, he has several offices and several locations. You would see several areas in which he supports and stands in the gap for many people. Now, there's a particular individual who has taken it upon themselves to go to Mississippi to ask questions, but in my opinion, there's bias there. Now, again, this is just my opinion, but I remember specifically this individual and the views and opinions of WICB, or leaks, are not that of Google, YouTube, nor any of its affiliates. Nothing said is to demean, discredit, or harm with malicious intent anyone referred to, or some of those who may believe it's referred to. So now that that's out of the way, there was a question asked by several people. And one of the questions was, what case comes to mind that Ben Crump has ever been involved with that did not involve someone brown or black, someone without any melanin? So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Again, welcome. This is Nolan Wells, a look inside of the newest information and more, because I want to bring some things to your attention. I'm your hostess, Lise. It is so good for you to be here. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, I hope you enjoy this broadcast and consider giving this a thumbs up, meaning double tap your screens as you enter, or depending upon the device you're listening to, give this a thumbs up and comments. Comments absolutely are welcome. I just ask that you please be respectful to this platform, my beautiful moderators, subscribers, and those who may wish to participate in the chat. So without further delay, I want to present to you a case that took place back in 2021. So for all of you individuals out there, to me, that may, in my opinion, have problems with people who look like you. And you go out your way, in my opinion, to discredit everyone. And in my opinion, you think you are the GOAT and you've done your due diligence because you are so heck bent on looking at people who look like you. To be honest, as always being wrong, always being a criminal, always being a thug. I'm here to present to you my exhibit number 1 that will debunk those who truly believe that Ben Crump has never, or at least people may not be aware that Ben Crump will step in when it comes to civil rights of all people. Hopefully, after viewing this video, again, this is fair use, the ones that have been shouting and popping off at the mouth about Ben Crump hasn't done anything for anybody else, any other race other than Black people. I hope this will, at least for a moment, keep you quiet, and you'll sit down and you'll learn something and not say this again.
Following the death of 17-year-old Hunter Britton, who was shot and killed by a deputy during a traffic stop early yesterday morning. Sheriff John Staley says he wants to know exactly what led to that shooting, but also wants transparency and accountability.
This happened on June 24th, 2021, and the victim was Hunter Britton. Again, Hunter Britton, and this is courtesy, as you can see right here, THV 11. THV 11.
That's why he's asked the Arkansas State Police to handle the investigation.
State police are gathering the facts. They know much more than I do. We immediately gave them body camera footage because we aren't handling the investigation. We don't know how much of the incident was captured by the camera. As sheriff, I'm committed to transparency. That's why I will support the public release of body camera footage when the law and state police investigation allow.
Sheriff Staley urged people to wait for all the facts before rushing to judgment. He also promised that any deputies who violate the law or his policies will be held accountable.
How many times have we heard this? And I'm not being facetious or ornery, but again, history tells us oftentimes something different. This took place in Arkansas. Again, Hunter Britton, June 24th, 2021, in Arkansas.
It's been really rough. This is getting heavier every day.
The Britton family pleads for answers as they're preparing funeral plans for Hunter Britton.
Look at Hunter Britton. What color, ladies and gentlemen, is Hunter Britton? And they said he was 17 years old. And this family, sadly, is making plans for Hunter Britton. Again, to the podcasters and others who have issues and has asked a question about other cases that Ben Crump or has accused or made assumptions or quick to judgment about Ben Crump. Continue to listen.
The 17-year-old shot and killed by Lonoke County Deputy Michael Davis in the early morning hours of June 23rd.
Hunter didn't deserve to be killed. He didn't deserve to be shot.
For 6 days, family and friends have protested outside the Lonoke County Sheriff's Department seeking justice for the teen they say was a hard worker who was working on his truck when he was pulled over by Deputy Davis. As protests continue, they seek further justice.
We're going to get to the bottom of it.
Hunter's family has started a petition with more than 2,400 signatures so far, hoping to get legislature that...
Now, I wonder if some of the people that are just hearing about this story will have anything to say. I'm curious.
Intention to create Hunter...
Especially the former officer.
Law, which in the petition says would mandate all officers in Arkansas to wear a body cam and require them to be activated for the entire shift.
We've had a lot of help from the community members because there's a lot of people that sees this as wrongdoing.
The Arkansas State Police said
Wrongdoing. Now, civil rights attorneys, a portion of their duties is to investigate wrongdoing. But let's continue.
as the investigation remains open, and the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office did hand off body cam footage to the state police. However, the Britton family feels they have been denied this transparency. According to...
What does that sound like? Does that sound like any previous or ongoing cases right now where families feel as though they've been denied transparency? This is a 17-year-old white young male. Okay, so for all of you that are purporting that there are individuals pushing the narrative, well, I'm pushing this into your faces right now.
Sheriff John Staley, it's unclear when the camera was activated and if the incident was recorded or not.
Sounds like what happened with Sean Grayson, who did not have his body cam activated when he took his weapon and ended the life of Sonia Massey. To the officer who thought that was okay, who felt as though it was his civic duty to go out to Mississippi. And these weak, in my opinion, interviews. Think about this case. This is one of your own or your ex-own. Your thoughts and opinions on that. Let's see if you'll talk about this. Because these are white law enforcement officers.
Arkansas State Police will not release that information until its investigation is complete.
Sounds very familiar to me, to current situation, actually several current situations. Again, this was June 29th, 2021.
It's a waiting game to see what the prosecutor comes up with. It's not going down like this.
Body cams are a good thing because they increase transparency between the police agency and the public.
But for Hunter Britton's family, they feel this transparency has been denied after the teen was shot and killed by a Lonoke County deputy last week during a traffic stop. We know the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office handed over body cam footage. However, we don't know what parts of the incident were captured.
I can understand why they may be doing some further investigation with regard to a video. However, I do find it quite odd that they're not at least acknowledging that a video of the incident exists.
Patrick
Yes, I find it odd too that there are several things: audio, boats, items allegedly that could have been on boats that weren't discussed in some of these interviews. But we'll get to that later.
Benka has practiced criminal defense for more than 20 years. He is on the side that believes the Britton family should have already seen what happened to Hunter.
There has been shooting incidents here in Arkansas where the tape was released in short order. And in those cases, the officers at least had a defense.
UA Little Rock criminal justice professor Jim Golden has researched the use of body cams. He says releasing that evidence too early could jeopardize the investigation.
That video footage shows one view. There's just a whole lot more questions that have to be answered.
While Golden suggests Hunter Britton's family be patient and let the investigation play out, Benka sees a lack of consistent transparency within agencies across Arkansas when it comes down to releasing body cam footage.
It won't hinder an investigation. It will cause problems for the agency if the tape...
Absolutely. Not releasing certain bits and pieces of information, editing, allegedly, interviews, messages, communications. Again, I'm not implying this has happened. Many of us have heard audios. So again, let's listen.
Reporting reveals something, one, that the officer, that's untrue, or corroborates the family's version, or I guess the friend in the car's version, and that he was carrying a bottle of oil.
Calls for justice continue in Lono County for a teenager shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy 1 week ago today. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Marlisa Goldsmith.
And I'm Craig O'Neill. Hunter Britton's death has gained national attention.
So that's the backdrop. Now, to the officer who went to Mississippi and the others who've questioned whether or not Ben Crump has ever been involved in any cases, unless it's a case or cases that involve melanated people. Here's your answer.
And now his family is getting some well-known legal representation.
THV 11's Ashley Godwin brings us the latest from Lonoke County.
It's been a week and people are still gathered outside of the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office to mourn Hunter, but the family says they have plans and the funeral coming up.
Change is coming. That's right. It's not just...
So they're yelling. You see them hands in the air. Justice for Hunter. Justice for Hunter. All of these white people. And rest in peace, Hunter Britton. Justice for Hunter. There's nothing wrong with this.
Justice for us. It's justice for everybody.
17-year-old Hunter Britton was shot and killed by Lonoke County Sheriff's Deputy Michael Davis last week. Hunter's family is preparing to lay him to rest, and they're also getting ready for the legal battle to come. The family has hired Devin Jacob and Benjamin Crump to represent.
Who is this right here? They have hired Benjamin Crump. I'm going to let this sit and marinate for all of you who have said, or all of you have assumed, that Benjamin Crump has never represented anyone who is not brown or black. Here is your proof that you were wrong in that, And in my opinion, you were wrong in many, many things. And I hope and pray, because I am a praying person, that each and every one of you who has said, and this goes for everyone, something malicious intentionally, that justice is truly served. Let's continue. Okay? Hunter Britton, a 17-year-old white male, unalived by a white sheriff's deputy in Arkansas. And who did the family reach out to hire out of all of the attorneys in Arkansas? Why do you think Ben Crump was called in on this case? Now, for some of you in the chat or in the comments may say, oh, it was about GoFundMe, GoFundMe. There's a lot of you on here. Again, everything will be revealed in due time.
Present them. Both were lawyers in George Floyd's murder case.
We've seen what they've done on TV. We know that they can handle the business that needs to be taken care of here.
Arkansas State Police are in charge of the investigation after it was handed over from the Lono County Sheriff's Office. The body camera footage went with it, and the family says they still don't know if the camera was turned on.
We haven't got any answers.
The family knows the process ahead of them is long, but they say they're hopeful Hunter's death will create change.
One life is too many.
Yep.
I mean, it shouldn't have to happen, but it happened for a reason, and we're going to show what that reason was.
Do our best to change the world and how these officers conduct themselves.
The sheriff's deputy who shot and killed the teenager last week in Lono County has been fired.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Congratulations to the family. I hope that'll bring some semblance of normalcy in your lives. It will not bring back your son Hunter, but at least you were able to receive the support that you received from Benjamin Crump. Again, for the foolish individuals or ignorant individuals, and there are several, who says, why hire Benjamin Crump? He's only around to sow, and these are my words, sow discord or rile up a community. No, not in this particular case. And not just Benjamin Crump, but civil rights lawyers can do many, many things. Independent investigations, institutional accountability, and putting that pressure on for answers. So, I just wanted to respond to a couple of individuals. The other one is not even worth it at all. Hunter Britton, I would encourage you all to review that case and the assistance Ben Crump provided. Hunter Britton, young white male, unalived by a white deputy sheriff in Arkansas. Benjamin Crump was hired in 2021 to assist in that matter. So I would hope that anyone else that allows the words and statements that Benjamin Crump has never, or show me a case that Benjamin Crump has been involved with that doesn't have anything to do with Black and brown people. Well, there you go. There you go. Seems like to me there are certain people that may not have been that great in their positions. Maybe that should be something interesting to look into. Legally, of course. Now, there have been a couple of interviews of friends of Nolan Wells. There are a lot of people questioning those interviews, a lot of people applauding those interviews. But some of the things that I have questions, and I have several questions. Looking at body language, and again, I am not an expert. I've had training in many areas, but I'm not an expert in body language. I've had partners. But let's listen to one of the clips. Again, this is fair use.
They asked Nolan, yo, we leaving. He was cuddled up. He was cuddled up with Katie, like he was cuddled up with Katie. And they asked him in front of Katie, hey, bro, we leaving.
And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat, get on the
multiple times, get on the boat in front of Katie.
But we're leaving. If you're coming, you got to come now. And Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island. And like he said, you know.
How many people heard that? Were there just,
at least
just a
5
few, or?
I mean, everyone that was on our boat right there, because the Palm Beach had already left. My buddy went ahead and went home on the Palm Beach, and 3 guys on the way back. And Nolan wasn't the only person to ride out there with us. And
so they was yelling, hey, you Nolan, we leaving. Nolan chose to stay behind because he was cuddled up with Katie. Katie heard this conversation. Let's fast forward real quick. Now, look what he said Katie told him. Now, if they was yelling out to Nolan, we leaving, and Nolan says, I'm staying behind with Katie, I'm not leaving, then Katie's explanation would not make, watch this.
Had text somebody.
Yeah.
And I heard
multiple times, Nolan made a decision to stay on the island after my friends asked him multiple times and told him to get on the boat. And
Nolan made a decision to stay on the island with Katie. He had Katie cradle up in his hands.
I left him there, or my friends just left him there. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island after my friends asked him multiple times and told him to get on the boat, and he decided to stay.
And I heard the girl that he was with, Katie, had text somebody that she heard people yelling
correct
for Nolan to get on it. Is that true?
And I have a picture of that. She texted my buddy, and the next day everybody was panicking and everybody's
Katie confirmed, yo, I heard them telling Nolan, hey, bro, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. They say Nolan never came with us. Katie saying, I heard them screaming, he gotta go. And Nolan told me he was leaving with them.
Texting Katie, you know, because she was obviously seen with Nolan the whole day at the island. Katie sent a message to my buddy the next day and said, you know, this is the last time I saw him, you know, he's really sweet. But she also mentioned that the last time she saw Nolan was when my buddy was yelling at him to get on the boat. And she was right there.
Then that means he went with you. Oh my God. Yo, this is it. This is it. This is the confession. It's either Katie got something to do with this or y'all got something to do with this. This is the confession. If y'all said Nolan did not come with y'all, y'all left without Nolan, And the Katie girl says, yo, he was with me, but the last time I seen him was when y'all was calling for him and he left me to go with y'all. Oh.
That was courtesy of Poetic Flacco. Again, courtesy of Poetic Flacco. Now, I am not in no position whatsoever to place blame on the young men, the young women, or anybody around, because the fact of the matter is, how can I put it? I'm asking questions because, of course, I wasn't there, just like many other people were not there, just like people who have visited was not there. You can only go by what is being told to you. Now, some of the questions that I have, and I'm wondering if the good old officer asked questions as it related to drinking, underage drinking, because I thought that was something, a big deal. Now, there were questions about this bilge pump. And I asked AI, and again, AI will pump out what you ask. I may not have framed it correctly, but this is the information that was given. I asked how long it would take for help to come. They speak about CETO and the United States Coast Guard. I wonder if Traveler to Mississippi and all those other people ask those questions, or is that information that is something that is already gathered or to be presented to the district attorney? Again, that clip was from Poetic Flacco. Again, everybody has their opinion. And a lot of people do believe that somebody may not be telling the truth, or some information provided may not be accurate. That's actually a possibility. So let's keep that in mind. What is the role of the United States Coast Guard? I'll leave that up there for you to review. Make sure you review each of those little carrots very well. I also asked some questions as it relates to liability and responsibility in the event someone could be held responsible. Again, I am not suggesting nor implying, nor am I stating anyone is responsible, because at the time of this taping, 5:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, July 26th, there have been no charges. So there's no way I could say that. These are just questions. Keep in mind, the grandfather was called, and we're going to be listening to that call in its entirety. Again, there have been many different audio clips being played, and I can only go by what I have heard. and pray that no one has altered this information, because I think it would have been a cruel thing to do, a nefarious thing to do. And here's one more quick slide. I asked if someone 18 years old was capable or experienced enough to assist in a malfunction, if you will. And this is the information that came back. Again, I'm not going to say AI is 100% reliable. I was just asking questions for information. We're going to listen to another clip, and then we'll get to the audio call. But before we do, my opinion.
Come on, Chris. You gotta admit something's going on.
One more time.
Come on, Chris. You gotta admit something. Come on, Chris. You gotta admit something's going on.
So, like, you know, like what's going on with all this Nolan stuff? Very aggravated. I mean, yeah, every right to be, but I mean, we were trying to calm him down, and like he was just like, oh, like, where y'all at? My buddy said, you know, we're at my buddy's house, and he said, all right, and then he just hung up. And so about 30 minutes later, I'd like to say, all of a sudden the door just got open and slammed, and there was a girl who walked in, and like probably about 8 or 9 guys behind her, and then another mom, which was Javon's mom. And
who's Javon? I want to put that in perspective. Who is Javon?
Javon is one of Nolan's good friends. He's a friend of mine too. You know, like great guy, and his mom and their family is, you know, very close with, you know, the Wells family. And I mean, so I don't know why she was there, like what was going on, but I was very surprised by this. I was like, you know, like you just basically like kicked the door open and, you know, busted up in the house with no knock or anything.
So is Javon black or white?
Javon's mixed. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I guess he's mixed.
Yeah.
So, but he's not white.
No, he's not white.
Just white.
Yeah,
or all white, I guess you might call it.
Yeah.
So then they come in the house. Do you know any of these people? And you said the mom, but do you know anybody else?
I've seen the mom before, and I know most of them. Most of the guys went to high school with me, and like I'm friends with some of the guys. I mean, you know, I know some of them. So eventually, like things started to get heated, and I was just like a guy I was like, you know, friends with in high school. He was like, "Man, come outside with me," and I was like, "All right." And I walked outside with him. He was like, "Man, I don't know why." Like they're panicking, and you know, like this is just like I think Nolan's just on somebody's couch. He's been drinking all day. He's just messed up, and you know, this is nothing that we have to worry about. As much as you know, I sat there and I told him, I was like, you know, I agree. I would think, you know, he's on somebody's couch, just had been drinking all day and just, you know, drank too much and was super intoxicated. And, you know, that's kind of what a lot of us thought, but they were kind of losing it and they were going crazy. And the mom that was with them demanded Nolan's phone because Nolan left the phone on the boat. And when we ran in, Nolan didn't ask for his phone and his keys were not on the boat because his car was parked at my buddy's house where we had all slept, you know, the night before the 4th. And so the keys were left at the house because Nolan's car was at my buddy's house where he stayed at. So of course he left his keys there. But his phone, I mean, he was drinking. He didn't have his phone in the
Come on, Chris. You gotta admit something's going on.
So that was a piece of the individual who went to Mississippi to interview a couple of people. Again, I have a lot of questions And there was another interview with Tristan or Triskin. I cannot pronounce his name correctly, so forgive me for that. But the funny thing that I've noticed is in that interview, if you want to go to that page, I'm not going to tell you where to go, where not to go. But there was a couple of things that I found interesting. Number one, in the interview with Tristan, who considered Nolan a best friend or his boy or good people. When he mentioned the name Wyatt, he was like, oops, my bad. Is Wyatt's name not supposed to be mentioned? And then I believe at the 2020 mark, again, you all are grown. I pray that you are grown and can make your own decisions, or at least think for yourself. It was brought up that Nolan was mixed, and Tristan specifically said his stepdad. Again, what difference does that make? Because isn't Warren Hudson a stepchild? Correct me if I'm wrong. So again, what does that have to do? What did that have to do with anything? Is a narrative trying to be pushed here as it comes to race? Because the individual who went to Mississippi or felt it was his duty to go to Mississippi, seems like to me, unless there's more information that may come out soon, and that's a possibility. But what's been shown thus far, and to have something that's broken down in several different pieces, in my opinion, that appears to be monetizing off of the tragedy, in my opinion. But if Nolan is mixed and Elmore is his stepdad, how is that any different than Warren being a stepchild and who his alleged dad may be? I'm not getting into that, but you can do your research. So we're going to listen to this next clip. I have to let you know it is 8 minutes long. You've probably already heard it. Some of you that may be new to this, maybe you haven't, but your thoughts and opinions. Again, this is Nolan Wells, a deeper look into the investigation, and I have some other pieces of information to give you, because I just want to caution some of you that sometimes when we seek justice and think we may have received it, things can happen. Things are not always what they seem. My name is Lise, and I'm your hostess. Welcome.
Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Adkerson. I think it's Jerry Adkerson. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag
unless
on
you
here.
have a membership number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How many? All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm available.
North 30 degrees. By 4672.
All right, 4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have the VHF radio.
All right, well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island? Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
Okay.
17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay,
How many
what's
adults
going
on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Okay, thank you.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Yeah, Jerry. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the
So-
bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a
Okay.
kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And again, I couldn't find, he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership, so it's just under Jerry fee for service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to, if you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is Jerry a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up Jerry's membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You can
swamped.
try this cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
Anything on this phone number.
All right. Yep. Jerry. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm gonna send you over an accurate one under this Jerry Ackerson one. Okay, he's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, and yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right, transferring him now. Thank you again, Captain.
All righty.
Stay safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty, thank you.
Shout out to TikTok. So, Vicky from CTO Assistance placed a call to Captain. I couldn't quite understand the last name. I don't know if it was Shep or Shep. I do not know, but there was an initial call, and Vicky said fee for service, and then she was going to cancel that out and put it in correctly. However, the Papa, Jerry, according to that call, again, if it's authentic, stated that, from my understanding, and again, I could be wrong, you can let me know that they no longer needed it. Someone no longer needed CTO, and they definitely did not want the U.S. Coast Guard to come out. Now, again, without knowing this young man or anyone, did it sound like he was just panicking? Did it sound as though there may have been something consumed? Adult beverages. Because I could have sworn during a particular interview, someone said that they put their can down. I don't know if they meant they put their can down into the boat, on the boat, outside of the boat. Don't know what the contents of the can was. Was it adult beverage or not an adult beverage? Did the fee for service go out from Vicky at CTO? Or because it was supposed to have been canceled, was it canceled out? Would the call still be somewhere on a manuscript or a transcript from CTO that a call came in? I understand that, according to Chasten, again, I'm not sure if that name is correct, that's a close-knit community, and in Ocean Springs, they've got your back, and I'm paraphrasing. And he went on to say some other things that some people may have taken a way he may not have meant, or perhaps he did mean, but it sounds like you don't know who you're messing with. And again, he may have meant because Ocean Springs is a tight-knit community and they have each other's back. What would a normal fee for service to, as I believe Warren is his name, he just wanted to have I took my notes, the boat unsink and towed. At first he wanted it in one place, Ocean something, I couldn't quite hear, but then to Fort Bayou. It was confirmed, at least out of the words of, I believe that was Warren, or perhaps it was Wyatt, whoever the caller was. There was nobody over the age of 21.
Come on, Chris. You gotta admit something's going on.
So whoever made the call, and it may not have been Warren. I could have sworn I heard the name Warren. So was it Wyatt? Was it someone else? I don't know. Whoever made the call stated that nobody over the age of 21 was on that boat. Whoever was the caller stated there were life jackets available. Were life jackets on each person? Were the life jackets, because it was clearly on that call, taken in or collected as part of evidence? Or is that something that may be presented to the grand jury to make sure that what was said during the call aligns with what they have? In that interview with Warren, the word buddy kept coming up. Buddy. What buddy? Or is that coming up with another interview? So many questions. Again, according to that long clip, Grandpa or Jerry and the captain, after the conversation, they don't need help, but if they needed it, to make sure that they call back. So what happened where they no longer needed help? Did they figure out what the malfunction was? Was that a question asked by the person who felt it was their duty to go to Mississippi? Was that question asked? Perhaps it was, and I didn't hear it. So as I mentioned, there are many things that happen. So many things that happen. And when I heard that the body of Nolan Wells was going to come to Washington, D.C., while I was happy that fresh eyes, experienced eyes, was going to take a look at it, I also know that by the history of Washington, D.C., it may end up getting a little bit more tricky. Washington, D.C. is a beautiful city. Washington, D.C. has a lot of skeletons in the closet. many skeletons. Many people who have experienced injustice and cases that remain unsolved. I would like to present to you the case of the beautiful Chandra Levy. Many of you may remember this case, some of you may not. But this is a deep, scandalous case that remains cold. It remains unsolved. And the person who was at the center of this case was former California Congressman Gary Condon, married with 2 children, Gary Condon. So for those of you not familiar with that, Chandra Levy was an intern. And allegedly there was a secret affair with Chandra Levy and Gary Condon. Chandra Levy was found or reported missing, and after a year later, Chandra's remains were found in Rock Creek Park. Many people from Washington, D.C. have heard of Rock Creek Park. Gary Condon was exonerated. There were no charges. He went back home to his wife and happy life, while the parents and the loved ones of Chandra Levy still fought for justice, which they found when a Salvadorian was sentenced to 60 years. But it was found that the informant in prison did not tell the truth. And his conviction for the unaliving of Chandra Levy was overturned. He, meaning the one that they pinned the schmurder on, was deported, and the case of Chandra Levy remains open. See, what a lot of you may not understand, some of you do, but I'm here in Washington, D.C., so there are many things I know. Some things I've spoken about and others I'm not going to touch, but these are just some things to enlighten you on how powerful people sometimes justice for victims aren't. There are a lot of unanswered questions in many cases in Washington, D.C. So let's take a look at the case of Chandra Levy. And for those of you who may be questioning, what does this have to do with Nolan Wells? It has a lot to do with Nolan Wells and other cases where families may seek justice, but because of politics, in my opinion, because of connections, in my opinion, and because of the incompetence of prosecutors, in my opinion, balls get dropped. And sometimes justice is never served, not only for Black and brown people, but white people as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nolan Wells, A Look Inside. And more.
She was their pride. She was their only child. When her phone calls stopped, they felt it. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. They tried calling her. No answer. They emailed. No response. Chandra was always in touch. She loved her family. She would never just disappear. But she had. On May 6, 2001, the Levys reported her missing. Washington police opened a case. At first, they treated it lightly. After all, DC saw disappearances all the time. Adults vanished and many came back.
This is actually true.
Police assumed she had left on her own, but
that should not have been done, but that's just my opinion.
The Levys knew better. Their daughter was in danger. The search began. Flyers went up. Calls were made. Detectives dug into her life. And what they found shocked them. Chandra had been involved with someone. Not just anyone. A congressman. His name was Gary Condon.
Again, she was involved with Congressman Gary Condon. And there have been, if you all have paid attention, a lot of scandals in Washington, D.C. So I am going to advance this a little bit.
Blamed the government. They blamed everyone who failed to act. And they had reason. Her computer search had pointed to Rock Creek Park from the start. If the police had searched properly, she might have been found sooner. Maybe evidence would have survived. Maybe the killer would have been caught. But now it was too late. The press returned. The cameras flashed again. The story was back. But it was different now. This was no longer a missing person case. It was a homicide. And Washington had blood on its hands. Condit's name returned to the headlines. He was still the main suspect.
Remember, give me a moment. I said he was exonerated. He was. But at that time, they spin the block on him.
Even with no evidence, people believed he was involved. The scandal clung to him like a shadow, but the police couldn't charge him. They had nothing solid.
And let me just let you know that Gary Condon was almost twice the age of Chandra Levy. Story sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Only suspicion. And in the background, another man sat quietly in prison. A man with a history of violence in Rock Creek Park. A man who might have crossed paths with Chandra. But for now, that name was just a whisper. The investigation was still lost in the fog. The Levys fought for answers. They fought for justice. But Washington wanted the story to end. It was messy. It was embarrassing.
Yes, it was. Just like the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky scandal. But let's continue.
It was political poison, so officials went silent. The case dragged on. The family suffered in darkness. The discovery of her remains should have brought closure. Instead, it brought more pain.
Sounds like another case and other cases that may not have hit the mainstream or independent media at this time. So these cases aren't new, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. They're not. And for those of you who may not have heard of this case, again, welcome. I have a couple more to present to you, as this is exhibit 2 of how things may not be as they seem, and how sometimes involving the government when it comes to investigations may not always net the results some may seek. I'm not saying that it won't, but just pay attention and always be cognizant.
Proved she was gone, but it proved nothing else. Who killed her? Why? And how had so many failed her? Those questions echoed louder than ever. The police promised progress. They promised the investigation was alive.
The now director of the FBI, Kash Patel, a lot of people are making victory laps. Oh, the FBI is in charge, or the FBI is getting involved in the Nolan Wells case. Well, the FBI and the DOJ are not like they were back in the day, back during my federal government tenure. They are not the same. And if some of you would take the time to see how Kash App Patel has misspoke, has prematurely spoken on some open cases and his own little scandals and letting people go and polygraphing and trying to find out who's leaked information about him, you may not want to continue running that victory lap just yet. Because keep in mind, during the situation, if you will, at the Hilton, where there was a person with a weapon, Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, was crouched down like the crouching tiger, at a chair. Just saying.
But months passed, then years, and still no arrest. The Levies kept her memory alive.
Please understand, it's been over 20 years now, and this case is still open. I'm going to advance this.
He had joined a gang as a teenager. He had a record of violence. By 2001, he was in Washington, D.C., and he was hunting. 2 women had already reported brutal attacks in Rock Creek Park. Both had been
I would strongly encourage you to research Rock Creek Park in Washington, D.C.
Both had been ambushed. Both had survived. The attacker had used a knife. He dragged them into the brush.
I'm going to advance this a little bit.
A disgrace, a failure of justice, a political cover-up, and for many, it confirmed the suspicion. The investigation had been doomed from the start.
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, the investigation had been doomed from the start. So if, and again, I'm speaking out loud, if this can happen to this beautiful, young, she was an intern, white woman who was an intern again in Washington, D.C., where it is purported, I'll just say that, to be prudent and to be prudent and responsible. I didn't mean for it to last this long, but I had to get these cases to you so you can really get a perspective. If this can happen to her, if this happened, because this case still remains cold and unsolved, someone who looks like me or has melanin like me and others, don't you think it's a possibility? The same things could happen. Again, I'm not saying that it could. I'm asking questions. Is it a possibility that these investigations could loom?
Ignoring Rock Creek Park, to fixating on Condit, to leaning on false witnesses.
Leaning on false witnesses. I would suggest some of you super sleuths out there, and I don't mean that in a demeaning way at all. I'm throwing you alley-oops if you're not catching what I'm saying at this time. I would strongly encourage you to get on the phone, begin letter writing campaigns, the pertinent questions and ask them to the right individuals. Pay attention. Pay attention to what you're hearing in this very first story.
Step had been a mistake, and those mistakes ensured that Chandra's case remained unsolved.
Those mistakes ensured that the case of Chandra Levy remained unsolved. Gary Condon, again, exonerated. And the family of Chandra Levy, 20 plus years later, still has not received justice. We're getting ready to go to our next story again. This is Nolan Wells. I'll look inside of the updates that we have thus far and more. I'm showing these stories to you again to give you a perspective of how politics, how failed investigations in the very beginning could cause a case to go cold. That video is courtesy of the Crime Vault. True crime. Again, courtesy of the Crime Vault. True crime. Next up, this one should be interesting. We're going to be looking at the story of the unaliving or the tragic, suspicious passing of Vincent Foster. Again, those of you familiar with Washington, D.C. and politics, you may remember the story. Vincent Foster, very close, extremely close to the Clintons, was under fire for many things, and it was said that because of the pressures and Washington, D.C. politics and other things that he decided to self-delete. Many people believe that is not true. Again, I wasn't there. I wasn't there in the Nolan Wells case. I wasn't there in the Chandra Levy case. I'm providing to you information that is found or can be found from various sources. I implore you always to fact check and to conduct your own thorough, meticulous research. This is story of Vince Walker Foster Jr. Vincent Foster.
Born on January 15, 1945, to Vincent and Alice Foster in Hope, Arkansas. As a young boy.
Wow. Another Arkansas. So we're gonna
of a land deal the Clintons had struck on the Whitewater development in Arkansas.
He was dealing with all sorts of things that a White House counsel typically would not be dealing with, plus this personal pressure of having his former colleague be his boss, and a very tough and exacting boss at that. She would say, "Fix it, Vince."
Foster was upset that his reputation was being tarnished by the Travelgate scandal, and privately feared the possibility of being questioned before congressional hearings. He even retained a lawyer to represent himself.
Vincent Foster, Travelgate. He retained his own lawyer. courtesy of the Washington Post. He contacted a Denver lawyer, James Lyons, who looked into the Clintons' whitewater dealings during the 1992 campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, when I tell you the rabbit hole goes deep, if you just open your eyes and research.
On July 19, 1993, he called a family doctor from Arkansas who prescribed him a low dosage of an antidepressant called trazodone.
Okay, so this is where they're speaking about or laying the foundation about depression.
Talk with them a little bit about the death of my friend of 42 years, Vince Foster.
So, former President Bill Clinton says that was his friend of 42 years.
It is an immense personal loss to me and to Hillary and to many of his close friends here, and a great loss to the White House and to the country. As I tried to explain, especially to the young people on the staff, there is really no way to know why these things happen.
And he's speaking about people who choose to take their lives.
Knight noted that he had never seen a suicide like this, gunshot wound to the head, with so little blood. It is my...
So again, let me put this up as a trigger warning. And again, for those of you or anyone you may know who may be suffering from depression, there is help available. And I'll make sure that I have that information in the description. Thank you.
Professional opinion, and I've been a homicide investigator for 35, 40 years, that the events surrounding the death were treated in such a cavalier and bizarre manner that it had to have been a cover-up.
We have heard the word cover-up so many times, and again, this is coming from events that some of you may not have known about in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. So again, for those of you who are running the victory lap about certain things that Washington will come through, you may want to research some of the cases. And again, this is not to discredit Dr. Mitchell or the work of anyone. This is just to caution you when politics, in my opinion, gets involved. You never know what the outcome may be. It is my prayer that justice, anyone who is seeking justice, that justice is truly found.
I've never in my career seen a gunshot wound into the mouth by a suicide that didn't have a tremendous amount of blowback. For them to say that there was a very minor amount of blood at the scene, which is what's in the official reports.
So you hear what this former homicide detective is stating, what was in the reports. So we're going to listen to Margaret Williams. This was Hillary Clinton's chief of staff back in the day.
Office. Foster's secretary also testified under oath that the special index to Clinton's personal business papers had disappeared from Foster's office file as well. On April 22nd, 1994, Hillary Clinton stated she had no knowledge of the raid on Foster's office.
Why did you use that name? Why was she on those documents from his office?
I don't think that she did remove any documents.
At the Whitewater hearings, Margaret Williams stated under oath that Hillary had ordered her to bring files taken from Foster's office that night to her. Either Williams is guilty of perjury, or Hillary
is guilty of obstruction of justice.
On July 22nd, 19...
Again, this is the case of Vincent Foster, whose unaliving was labeled as self-deletion, but many people question whether or not it was indeed murder.
'93, Mr. Nussbaum and other White House officials went into Mr. Foster's office a second time. The FBI agents and the Park Police were ordered to sit on chairs out in the hall while the White House staff went through these documents. And Mr. Nussbaum gave the FBI and the Park Police no indication of what he was taking.
White House counsel Bernard Nussbaum, pictured here with Vince Foster, conducted the search of the files. There were also representatives of the FBI, Secret Service, and Justice Department on hand in case of evidence that the death was related to any type of suspicious activity.
Again, suspicious activity. Again, this is the case of Vincent Foster.
And you're walking beside of me, you're walking behind me, just giving me intense glares.
Men Knowlton said were clearly trying to frighten him into not testifying. He took witnesses with him when he was followed, including a reporter who verified that it was not his imagination.
I've talked to a number of experts who are familiar with this technique of intimidation. And what they said was, number one, it warns the witnesses and scares the witnesses and intimidates the witness. And if that doesn't work and the witness continues to tell the truth about whatever it is that they've seen, it will discredit it. I mean, who's going to believe somebody who says that every time he leaves his building, there are strange men on every street corner following him and staring at him? And particularly from a witness who said that back on July 20th, 1993, there was a man in the parking lot who would...
So, for those of you, and I would hope that you'd be interested in the case of Vince Foster, that you do your research on that case. And again, I am not implying nor pointing the finger or accusing the Clintons or anyone involved with the Clintons as it relates to this story, as it relates to Vincent Foster. What I'm saying to you is, it's one of those cases in DC that many Washingtonians, older ones of course, still talk about till this day. Next, we're going to speak about Ron Brown. Ron Brown, who had a very, very illustrious career. However, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, his career was also marred with controversy. And he was the Secretary of Commerce, a prestigious position, also under the Clinton administration. Ron Brown and 34 others perished during a flight to Croatia. There has been, again, to be prudent and responsible, unconfirmed speculation that there was a marking on the head of Ron Brown that appeared to be that of a pew-pew wound. Again, I am not a conspiracy theorist.
A published report said a second armed...
And these speculations, these allegations have floated around Washington, D.C. for years, even though foul play and even though the speculation that there may have been a wound from a weapon found on Ron Brown. was never confirmed. But listen to Tony Brown's journal. Again, this is courtesy of Tony Brown's journal. And this is a photo of that flight that Ron Brown allegedly, with 34 others, perished in.
Force's medical examiner says the corpse of Commerce Secretary Ron Brown seemed to have a bullet hole in the top of the head. The Pittsburgh Tribune-Review reported U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel David Haas says he saw an apparent bullet wound in the head, supporting the account of forensic pathologist examiner Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Steve Cogswell. According to the report, Haas and Cogswell, both members of the Armed Forces Institute of Pathology, participated in the agency's investigation of the April 1996 military jet crash in which Brown and
1996. I also want to bring to your attention that there were members of the NAACP who also pressured for an investigation into these allegations.
34 others died. An Air Force spokesman told United Press International that the wound to Brown's head superficially looked like a bullet wound, but, quote, scientific data, including x-rays, absolutely ruled it out, end quote. Cogswell, who never examined Brown's body, but was the Air Force...
Never examined the body of Ron Brown. Again, I hope that you all are paying attention to the similarities in these cases that I'm presenting to you now. This is Exhibit 3 to much of what you may be hearing now and others that may not have met the independent media or mainstream at this time. Again, this is the Nolan Wells investigation of deeper dive and more.
This man at the crash site maintains that x-rays of Brown's head have disappeared from the Institute's file, including one that apparently shows bullet fragments. The Pittsburgh Tribune...
Again, these are all allegations, but for those of you who may be interested, and I think that you should be interested, again, when you're talking about powerful people, when you're talking about the government, there are a lot of cases out there that people still have questions.
Tribune Review has published some of the photos of the x-rays, and we will review some of them on this program. The Pittsburgh Tribune Review has been accused of anti-Clinton bias because of its conservative leanings, but the NAACP and the Congressional Black Caucus have asked for explanations from the Justice Department, the Defense Department, and the White House. Ron Brown's own family, according to the New York Daily News, did not condemn the conservative participation and, quote, did nothing to dispel speculation that the Clinton administration may be covering up Brown's murder, end of quote. If Brown was...
Again, covering up. Again, this is the case of Ron Brown. I would strongly encourage you, for those interested in researching that as well. I have one more. And I thank you all so much for tuning in. Give me one moment. This is a case that I've actually been following because it happened in the state of Maryland. This is a photo of then 19-year-old Dakara Thompson, who was unalived tragically last year in August of 2025. Now this story is really interesting because so many different things have transpired. I've literally gone to the courthouse, met members of the family. I attended the homegoing service. I even, and it's on one of my lives, I have to find it and I will attach it to the description. I traced what was reported for her last steps before she ended up in Bowie, Maryland. The backstory: Dakara Thompson left her father's home, said she was going to get gas. She would be back. She never returned. She was reported missing, and about a week later, she was found off of a grassy embankment off of Route 50, maybe about 7 miles from where the law enforcement officials believed she was unalived. Now, there have been many stories and speculations. I'm not getting into that, but the irony of this case is the man charged in the unaliving of Dakara Thompson is a 35-year-old Guatemalan national who was stopped in April of 2025 on the suspicion of DUI, but the United States Park Police let him go. Dakara Thompson, according to what investigators did release, according to roommates, heard the two of them in the bedroom of Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez making sounds that sounded, I'm trying to make sure I say this as gently as possible, intimate sounds. And according to one of the roommates, it sounded like the young woman was not pleased. I'll just put it that way. A week later, as I mentioned, she was spotted by the Maryland State Police, who, according to reports, was responding to a disabled vehicle. Now, I'm just going to say this, and again, this is my opinion, my experience. I've seen a lot of disabled vehicles on the roads all over Maryland. Rarely does Maryland State Police get involved. Did they that day? I can't say that they did or did not, but I would think in August, sweltering heat, wildlife. Again, there are a lot of things I would want to say, but out of respect, I cannot, but I'm sure you understand. Wildlife and sex, that's as far as I'm going to go. But the question is, why, if Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez was undocumented, as reports claim, why did the United States Park Police let him go? Was it known at the time? Again, he was stopped for the suspicion of DUI. Not only that, ICE did not put a detainer on him until after he was arrested. County Executive Aisha Braveboy, and a lot of people in Prince George's County, Maryland, and I'll just say this, they're not happy with her. There are a lot of people in Maryland that are not happy with Governor Wes Moore. Aisha Braveboy is a descendants from Grenada. Does that have anything to do with anything? I'm not saying that at all. But keep in mind, politics. Governor Wes Moore, descendant of Jamaicans. Again, there's some people that agree with their policies, other people question. There are questions that continue to loom, and that trial is to begin, unless they've changed it, either September or October. And unless I'm in trial or in court myself, I plan to be there.
So the neighbor of the suspect accused of killing 19-year-old Dakar Thompson is speaking out this morning. We're talking about Cody Parson here, who says that he witnessed suspicious behavior of the 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez following Dakar's disappearance.
Cody tells Fox 5 he lives next door to the alleged illegal immigrant who police say killed Dakar Thompson inside of his bedroom in a Bowie, Maryland home. Cody says early in the morning on August 23rd, he stepped outside of his home and saw something burning in the suspect's backyard. He says he still can't believe this happened.
I'm terrified. This could happen next door to my house, in my neighborhood. Like, my wife sits regularly in between the two houses and smokes late at night. This girl deserves justice. Whatever justice can be given in this world, she deserves it. My heart goes out to her family. I can't even imagine. I have a daughter myself, and I can't even imagine the grief that they're going through right now.
Absolutely. So again, this is another big case in Maryland, in the Washington, D.C. area, that is of 19-year-old Dakar Thompson, allegedly unalived by 34-year-old Hugo with an A, Hernandez Mendez. Again, what they're saying is an undocumented individual. However, released even though he was stopped under the suspicion of DUI. Maryland, for those of you who may not know, it is considered sanctuary. However, there has been an uptick of ICE or La Migra. I'll say it again, La Migra sightings in Maryland these last few weeks. How could this have happened? Caroline Leavitt last year stated that they were going to make sure, meaning the White House, was going to look into this story. I haven't heard anything more about that coming out of the White House. In fact, I haven't heard anything more about the Epstein survivors because so much is going on. So again, for those of you that are doing a victory lap, in my opinion, because the FBI is getting involved, do you know why they're getting involved? Is it because of the death threats? Alleged death threats to individuals? Well, if that's the case, I would suggest that instead of FBI Director Kash Patel firing people to get on to USA Jobs and start recruiting more agents, because there are a lot of people that receive these type of threats online, offline, daily. You don't have enough agents to cover all of these things, in my opinion. Prakash Patel also promised to have all of the files, all of the transparency, answers for, or at least transparency. Let me step that back a bit. I don't want to use the word promise. Indicated that he would ensure he was on top of getting transparency for the Epstein victims. Ask yourself, those of you that are listening, has that happened as of yet? All of the other cases that are going on, that's gone on in Washington, D.C. Again, ask yourself, do you really have 100% confidence in this administration's FBI? I would encourage you, strongly encourage you to do your research. I'm here. I see. I've seen. I've spoken to many individuals. I will say to you again, things are not always what they seem. Justice, may justice for Nolan Wells prevail, despite those who may be trying to slow it down or perhaps make it more difficult or shift in another direction. May justice be served for all victims and for those who may be blamed for committing crimes. And they are truly innocent, may they be exonerated and find peace. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been Nolan Wells. Deeper look into the latest information, and it's basically been the audio call and these interviews with friends of Nolan Wells. And we looked at a few videos of some cases, political cases, politically charged cases in Washington, D.C. that seem to have some of the same layers, the same foundations. And again, remember, for those of you who stated falsely that Ben Crump only supports brown and black people, remember the case of 17-year-old Hunter Britton. That's a picture of Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, along with family members of Hunter Britton. That's for those who think and believe that they know everything. I don't think, and I would never say that I know everything, because I don't. But there are certain things that I do know, and I know how to research, and I'm not going to be biased. As you could see, the cases I just presented to you. Thank you again for those who tuned in. If you enjoyed this broadcast, please let me know by dropping a like. Consider subscribing, because I will have more as time permits. And comments for those who may be catching the replay are welcome. I just ask that you please, again, respect the platform, the hostess I'm your hostess, Lise, the mods, the subscribers, and other chat members. Until next video, everyone, please be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier. Bye-bye for now.